Alright, so the first thing in getting Dad's truck back on the road after we've kind of done everything that we've needed to do is going to be installing this fuel tank. After that, we can slide the seat in and all that good stuff, and then hopefully start running some gas lines and see if we can get this thing driving under its own power this week. So the old fuel cells in these older trucks, which I'm sure most of you know, but they go right behind your seat. So we've got some bolting locations up top and also on the bottom. So I'm going to just wiggle this thing in place right now and get our little filler neck over here through the cab. The filler neck kind of looks like Ace Ventura when he comes out of that rhino in the movie. Alright, so that is through. Now I just need to start getting everything fit up in here and lining all these bolt holes up. Hopefully everything lines up in the bottom because we welded all new sections in here in the backs. Like I was telling you, some of these probably are not going to be exactly dead on because I did weld these floor pans in, and that is the case for this one. These other two up here are lining up really good and I can get a bolt in those. But what I'm going to have to do is come in here with this file and just kind of clean up this lower part of this opening and just kind of open it up just a little bit lower. That way everything will line up. So I'm just going to hit this thing real quick. That way we can get all the bolts in. Alrighty, so that's pretty close. I'm going to try to find 3 bolts real quick that'll fit up in here, and then we'll start trying to line this bottom up. I've been hearing a scratching noise inside of this. I think we might have trapped a bird in the old heater. Open that up and see if he won't come out of there. Oh, there he goes. Alright, so I've got all of them in except for this one, so we're just gonna wiggle this thing around a little bit here and try to fit it in here. Looks like the tank itself needs to come down a little bit here, so I'm going to get a dead blow and knock it down just a little bit. Finally got it. Now I'm just going to go back through here, get everything lined up, and tighten all these bolts down real quick. Alright, so down through here I am going to hit the slot on these lowers just to get these bolts in because there's just a little bit of sheet metal in here. I'm going to start with this burr bit. If it ends up being a little bit too much of a spark or anything like that, I'll obviously shut it down because this is a fuel tank. But we're not going to be actually grinding on the fuel tank. It's going to actually be underneath, right below it. So I'm going to get started. But like I was saying, this could be stupid, I know. But it's just going to be very low. I'm not going to try to make any sparks or anything like that. Alrighty, so it is the next day and we're back on the gas tank here, but basically I was looking at this factory hose majigger here, and although this is what probably needs to be put on, it is completely jam-packed full of some kind of dirt or something. So for the time being, while we got one of those on order, I'm just going to run some 3/8 fuel hose here, and it's going to go through this grommet and then into the tank, and then I'll set our vent up and all that good stuff. Alright, I'm just going to throw the rest of this through the floor, and then we can get it underneath and hook it into the actual line going to the fuel pump. Alrighty, here is all of our vents we got connected, and also our main pickup from the tank, from the sending unit, and we got our 2 grommets. So Like I was telling Luke just a second ago, I'm not really positive if I've got all these lines ran correctly. I kind of looked at some like schematics and stuff like that online, but I wasn't the one to take this tank out. It was already out when we acquired this truck, so I'm hoping that it is, but if it's not that big of a deal. So I'm gonna start getting hopefully this seat in here, and then maybe we might even try to fire this thing up. Also, we have a special guest appearance tonight. Luke has came over to help with the 64 back here. Luke, tell the fine people what you're doing today.
Working on your junk.
All right, so I'm gonna see if I can't borrow him real quick, and we'll get this seat in here.
Oh, it's wedged. It's wedged.
Brother.
Oh, my back.
Oh, that's all right, so we have Dad's truck pretty much ready to start, allegedly. So we're gonna go ahead and try to get some gas down the carburetor and also some gas in the fuel tank so we can start picking up, hopefully, fuel from the actual tank. And like I was saying earlier, I might have to switch those lines around because I didn't take this gas tank out, so I'm not 100% certain that everything's good. We did have some stuff arcing around in here. They have done some pretty questionable wiring inside this truck, and that's why Dad is taking it to one of his buddies so he can get onto the wiring and stuff like that and just kind of make this thing mechanically sound, because we are driving my 64 and Dad's 72 to Southeastern Truck Nationals, which is in Lebanon, Tennessee. So that is roughly a 3-hour trip for us. So I've only drove my truck about 30 minutes. Obviously Dad's truck is going to be super green, never drove it, but let's get some gas in this thing and see what we got.
I ain't got no gas in it.
So we went to shut the passenger door because we were going to get ready to fire this thing up, and there was a bare wire pretty much laying directly where Luke is taping right now. Dad, like I was saying, he's taking this to somebody, and he was going to just kind of work on wiring, getting everything going, but it looks like we might be doing a whole wiring kit on this old truck. There's a lot of pretty mediocre repairs on this thing, a lot of wire nuts and all that kind of stuff, so I think a new wiring harness is probably definitely in this truck's future. Alright, round 2, we're going to hook the battery back up, and then we're going to get a little gas down the carburetor and hopefully start pulling from the tank. Alright. I think I'm going to swap them lines around real quick, Luke. Alright, attempt number 3. I switched the lines around on the fuel tank. I think we got it going now, so I'm going to put a little bit more fuel in here and see if we can pick up from the tank.
Ready?
Yeah. There it goes. It just got it up to the filter, so try it one more time, Luke. Alright, so it is running. We're going to button up a couple things here, and before the sun goes down, we're going to try to get this thing on a little bit of a drive. Just pull it around the front of the shop. We got to get a little air in that front tire. So that's pretty exciting. Dad's truck is moving on its own. It's running pretty good. It's idling, all that good stuff, everything you could ask for basically. There's only one way to really test it. We're going to take it down the road real quick and see what it does. Luke is doing the inaugural test drive per the usual. Let's see what we got. Making all the noises.
Maybe them extra bolts I found.
This way, not down the gravel. God, she's arcing again.
Is it really?
Yeah. No! Oh God, no! Help us, Lord!
What is it? Ouch!
I see it. Shut it off. Oh no. Go unhook that battery real quick.
Does this thing got a hood thing in here? Or is it?
It's out there. Let me know when you're unhooked.
Alright.
So it looks like they've got some kind of radio somehow jammed up in here.
There's just a radio hanging out in there.
Yeah. They did the radio delete kit without deleting the radio. Oh. How's that come off?
Probably like this.
The previous owner just had a radio just sitting down in there, and I think that's what was arcing around for us. So hopefully that fixes that and we can get back to the test drive.
All right.
Oh no. So it looks like the truck is driving out pretty good other than third gear. I don't know if that might be a linkage issue. Maybe it's not catching the gear all the way. But that is something that we'll definitely look into as things go on. But I mean, the truck hasn't drove in I don't know how long. And Luke's feeding the onions to it right now. So it's doing pretty well. I mean, brakes pretty good on it. Yeah, brakes are solid. Everything's good on this old truck. I mean, other than the 85,000 things we fixed. I mean, as far as drivetrain goes, though, this truck is pretty sweet. I mean, we did lose a nice 66 hubcap, though.
Yeah, so I don't know where that came from.
And unfortunately, it was Luke's, so hopefully we find that thing. If not, I might be asking some of you guys for a hubcap. But we're gonna pull this thing into the shop and just kind of check everything out. All right, so it is the next day and I am out here again. Right now I'm kind of looking at these linkages that we had. I don't know if you could hear in the video or not, but we were having problems going into third gear. So this one right here is actually what selects third gear, and then below, I don't know if that's first and second, and this is third and reverse. I'm not 100% positive on that. But what I do know is that this lever here that reaches third is hitting this lower lever down here. So I noticed that there is some adjustment. So I'm going to try to bring this back this way and hopefully it'll be able to swing freely then and clear. Alright, so it looks like what I'm going to do here is this lower one I'm actually going to space out so it'll maybe not contact, because there's not as much of an adjustment in here as I was hoping for. It's actually still hitting right now. Well, let me just get you in here real quick. Alright, so this is the bracket that I'm trying to adjust currently, and I don't know if you can pick it up on camera. Let me get the light. Hopefully you can see it. It's hitting this dog right here, which I don't know if that's just part of the thing, but Basically, I can't move this any further that way because this is actually hitting on the dog of the shifter column. So what my game plan is, I'm going to come in here and there's plenty of thread, so I'm going to put a little bit of a spacer on this side, hopefully bringing that away from our third gear selector. Alright, I've got my handy dandy washer spacer here. I'm going to go ahead and attempt to get this off, and then that way we can get this spacer in here and hopefully away from our other shifter. Alright, we got a pretty good gap now, so I think that might actually cure our problem, hopefully. I'm going to tighten this back down and we'll just kind of run it through the gears real quick and see if it's doing any better. Alright, I'm just going to go through the whole thing and hopefully we can get into third gear. So there's our first. There's second. Alright, I can't tell completely. Definitely not in a gear there. I'm going to move around front real quick and see, because that sure doesn't feel right. Alright, so rookie mistake with the 3 on the tree, I guess. It wasn't actually tightened on the third gear selector, so when you seen all that play in there, the actual shift column or the shift lever that I showed you actually pulled out because I didn't have it tight. So some of this stuff, guys, I'm just learning myself, so we'll get through this together. So let's see if we can get third gear now. It feels like that's third right there. It's definitely in a gear, so that might have remedied it. And alright, so that's probably going to wrap up another video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Dad's truck's looking pretty good. I got what I set out to do this week accomplished. I got this thing running and driving on its own gas tank, got the seat back in it, and we took it for a little rip. So you can't hardly complain whenever you get one of these old trucks, especially a project you've been working on, out driving and get to enjoy it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it as much as we did, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one.